All right, hello, welcome to Load Mag NUFC. This is the reaction show to Liverpool versus Newcastle. Not a great result, but maybe it was expected. I'll ask the question anyway. How are you, lads? How are you, Pete?
Yeah, all right. Other than that, obviously disappointing result, but yeah, other than that, okay, not bad. How are you, boys? Chris, Daz, how are you?
Yeah, all right, mate. Same as you. Not bad, other than watching through that. But yeah, I'm good. Yeah, Daz, how are you getting on, fella?
Great. Do you believe me? Yeah. Tired, to tell you the truth. Right. Didn't bother with any pictures, guys. There's not much point really. But let's go through the lineup, because in goal it was Pope. We had Tino, Shar, Byrne, and Hall in the back line. We had Tonali, Bruno, and Willock, and then we had Murphy, Gordon, and Wilson up top. So no Isaac, who had a groin strain, and Wilson came in for Isaac. Tonali was back, and Miley was on the bench. Rafa was back in Anfield as well from the pre-match. I have to say, lads, when we did get an update that Isaac would be on the bench or was not going to play anyway. So the writing was kind of on the wall, because he's the only one that can make Virgil van Dijk shit his pants, really. And without him there was no one there that could do that for us. But what's your thoughts on the lineup, lads?
Is what it is. With Isaac not playing, it's always going to be a big hole in the team. You look at the other positions. It is as it is. That's in terms of the players that are fit right now. That's arguably the strongest team available, bar Isaac. So look, there was one major change, but it is a big change, and it's a big difference not having him up front. Just because he's so important to this team. He is the most important player in this team. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, it was a big shock, but yeah, really disappointing as well. However, I have to say, if he's not 100% fit, don't play him. If you're going to ask me over the next 4 games, Liverpool, Brighton, West Ham, and Cup final, which game I would not want him to play in, it would be this one. So I think as much as people will question Eddie Howe not playing him today, I actually think he's made exactly the right decision. I don't think there's an issue with that for me. So it is what it is. But I do fully expect him to be fit and ready to go against Brighton on Sunday.
Chris, Anthony, you want to say on the team news?
Yeah, just a couple of things really. I was a little bit surprised he didn't go 5 at the back, but then I suppose if Sven Botman's not fit, then maybe that put that idea to bed. On Isaac, as what Pete's just touched upon, I'm hoping it's nothing serious and it is precautionary. We know in the past that players have seemingly missed out or just missed out, and then we don't see them for weeks, months. So I hope that it isn't anything too serious. And to be honest, as and you put the idea in my head actually when you first brought it up. Imagine if Howe didn't want to risk Isaac this game, but put him on the bench. You're gonna just have at least half an hour, 45 minutes of the fans screaming for Isaac to be brought on the pitch when he really may not want to. So if there was any slight doubt over him, I think it's best to just completely remove him from the squad, which hopefully is what's happened today. If he doesn't want to start him, then not having him in the squad's probably a good thing, because like I say, particularly at 1-0, because it was 1-0 for so long, the fans would have been baying for Isaac to come on the pitch. And if he doesn't want to play him, then don't put him in the squad. If he wants to protect him, if it is just a niggle or he's felt something, then it's like, well, let's not risk him. Because Pete's right, looking at the future games, this isn't a game that you take a risk on someone in, because it's not. Today was never do or die for me. It just wasn't. So it's hopefully it just sounds like he's protecting, which is a good thing.
Yeah. All right, let's run through the game. I don't have many notes, so it'll keep this quick. Straight away after 3 minutes, Liverpool looking for a penalty after Hall and Salah collided. The commentary team were mad to give a penalty as well, but it wasn't a penalty. Anyone disagree?
Just to touch on that before I go to the penalty, the reason I'm in such a bad mood and I'm fuming, and I don't know if you boys feel the same, I don't know what stream you're watching. Ali McCoist was about 20 feet up Salah's arse tonight. Now, don't get me wrong, Salah played well tonight. And I'm not denying that. Salah's a good player. I'm not denying that. He's had a fantastic season. But literally, some of the stuff that I heard tonight, I'm not normally one of those fans who gets on, the media's backs, with like commentary. I just tend to like block it out. But tonight was just unbearable. Absolutely unbearable. I've never heard such biased commentary in all my life. And then at half time, I know obviously Rafa used to manage Newcastle. Seeing Steve McManaman and Rafa in the studio, I was just like, fucking hell. But anyway, I'll be honest, and obviously I'm disappointed with the results and I'm disappointed with what's happened this evening. But I think that's infuriated me even more than the actual game. I really do, because it was just unbearable at times. So I don't know if you boys heard it or you were listening to that stream. I don't know.
I was watching TNT, so that's what I was. But
it was that.
Salah is class. Salah is class, though. He is.
He is. But at one point, one of them were like, "Oh, he's hit it with the outside of his boot. He wants to do something with the outside of his boot tonight." And then he was like, "Oh, Alisson's hitting it with the outside of his boot." And it's like, mate, come on, we're getting a bit fucking stupid now, aren't we? This is getting a little bit silly. I don't know whether it was just me, but it really irritated me tonight. Really, really irritated me. On the subject of the alleged penalty, for me, it wasn't a penalty. And the fact that VAR quickly brushed it away says it all. I had loads of heads coming at me today saying, "Oh, it's a pen, it was a pen, oh, Stonewall pen." My mate said it was a Stonewall pen. I despair.
And then that one, Pete.
Nothing more than a coming together. It is what it is. Salah made the most of it, which is what he always does. But yeah, I thought the ref made the right decision. Nothing wrong with it for me. But look, with regards to commentary, I did hear Ali McCoist. So what I will say is that Ali McCoist has been very favourable to Alexander Isak in other commentary games.
I like him, mate. I do like him.
Liverpool are always going to get the lion's share. They're at Anfield. They're about to win the league. Salah's the best player in the league. There's no doubt about it. And so this has been going on for years. This is nothing new. Like, they always favour the clubs that are at the top. If it was Man City tonight, they'd have been doing the same about Haaland. If it was Arsenal, they'd have been doing the same about Bukayo Saka if he was fit. This is what they do. For me, I zone out. I don't even listen to it, to be honest. And at times, as I did before the game, I didn't even watch. I wasn't even watching it. I just turned the sound off. I've got no interest. But that's me.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on, boys. 10 minutes. Dominik Szoboszlai. Goal. Through we'll get to this one. This caused some debate in our own chat. But through Tonali, Byrne, and Pope. Who was at fault for this one, lads?
Sorry, Pete. If the question's who's at fault for it, for me it's Sandro Tonali. Sandro Tonali's at fault for it. And I know Pete's mentioned Fabian Schär. Funnily enough, I did manage to watch it back midway through the game. I think they replayed it. And I did actually see that Schär was actually covering Tino as well. I mean, really, it was just a mismatch of errors, wasn't it? Because, Sandro Tonali's following Szoboszlai. He's right next to him. He can see him. He even takes a couple of looks at him. And then for some reason, he gets drawn towards the goal line. And then he turns around as the ball comes in and he's like, "Oh shit, I've left Szoboszlai on the edge." And then Szoboszlai hits it, goes through a couple of players, and what Daz was referring to, anyone at home who doesn't understand what Daz was saying. the ball gets hit, and yes, it goes through a couple of players' legs. I wasn't happy, and it'd be interesting to see what the chat thinks as well. I wasn't happy with how quick Pope got down for it. I thought he could have got down quicker. But I do understand that it has gone through a couple of players' legs, and it's not just Nick Pope. The chance should never have happened because Dominik Szoboszlai should have been marked, and ultimately he wasn't. Which is really the main thing. The job of your midfield and your defence is to protect the goalie and not have shots faced at them. Even though I don't think the shot was particularly well struck either. But just frustrating. I mean, the fact that we're naming 3 or 4 players says it all. Really, it's not an individual error by any stretch. But yeah, I was just really disappointed when the goal went in because I just felt like it was preventable, and yeah, just frustrating.
I stayed neutral in that discussion. I was tempted to put a picture of Martin Dubravka in there, but I thought it might be just a bit too much, so I said no.
Hey, listen, mate. Let's not beat about the bush here. We've got 2 goalkeepers who aren't good enough, and that's a fact.
Well, we know you alerted us to one that is. But can she play with her feet, Chris? You never answered my question.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see if she can, mate. I'll have to see if she can. But yeah.
Pete,
disappointing.
That Liverpool first goal.
For me, this is how I saw it. I could name a number of players that were at fault. I thought Tino Livramento recovery to his right-hand side position was poor to begin with. Shaw goes over and covers, but to allow their player, can't remember who played the ball into the box, but to allow, it might have been Diaz.
Was it Tsimikas, Pete, or Diaz? Tsimikas or Diaz? One of the two.
One of the two. To allow that player 10, 15 yards to travel and then arrive into the box without going to meet him and just allowing him to just play that ball across goal, I think is an absolute disgrace from Fabian Schär. And it wasn't the first and it wasn't the last time that I saw some absolutely shambolic defending from Fabian Schär tonight. I thought he was absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Yes, Sandro Tonali was also extremely poor tonight and rightfully taken off at the time that he did. I thought he was really, really poor today. His use of the ball was shocking. His positional play wasn't good. And for the goal, he should have done better. There was no doubt about it. But for me, to just throw this all at Nick Pope, I just think this is what Newcastle United fans do. We just label a scapegoat, and every time it's their fault, even if it might not be. They forget all the frailties of every other player before, and they'll just go to that one player and go, they're at fault. We did it last season with Sean Longstaff. We were doing it earlier on a few weeks ago with Joe Willock. We always have to have a scapegoat. There always has to be somebody at fault. There always has to be somebody's fault. It wasn't Pope's fault. Watch the goal back. That ball, yes, Chris, you're absolutely right. It wasn't the best hit. It went through 2 players' legs, and Pope was unsighted and to the point where the ball goes into the net. There's nothing you can do about it. You could argue that you could try and get a hand to it, but if you can't see that ball until the last minute, how can you get something on it? Okay, I'm not saying Pope's perfect. Far from it. Okay, but this narrative that I've seen on social media that Pope's rubbish, oh, this is why we should have had Dubravka back in goal. Dubravka's just as shit, if not worse. For me, Dubravka's worse. The only thing, and this is the thing, Newcastle fans, you need to understand this. It wasn't long ago that we were wanting Dubravka out the club, right? The only thing that Dubravka is better at is with the ball at his feet. And he's only marginally better, by the way. He's not amazing with the ball at his feet. He's not perfect. We're talking like Martin Dubravka's Thibaut Courtois here. He's not. He is far from it. We have, at this moment in time, 2 not very good goalkeepers. Nick Pope was here, streets ahead of Martin Dubravka. Streets ahead. That injury to his shoulder, November 2023, is the reason why that there is now gone down to there. This is not Dubravka getting any better. Dubravka's not changed. He's still the same. He's a shit shot stopper. He can't command his area, but he's half decent with his feet. That's the only thing that he's better at. Nick Pope is and was here. Now he's here. They're probably at evens. So why we're clambering for Martin Dubravka to go back into goal, I've got no idea. For me, I just hope both get sold in the summer and we move on. But the reality is we've got two goalkeepers here. They're both not very good. We've just got to deal with it. On a day like tonight, I would have much rather Nick Pope be in goal because he's a better shot stopper. And the law of averages would suggest we're probably going to face more shots at goal. So I would have him in goal. There are other games, and I've said this before, where Martin Dubravka will be the better option because he's better with his feet. But tonight was the best option for Nick Pope. I do not blame Nick Pope for that goal. You can micromanage and pick out these little things that Nick Pope should have done. But for me, Tino Livramento's recovery run was absolutely shite. Fabian Schär let a player run 15 yards without even approaching him to make a tackle, and then I've just allowed him to put the ball into the box. And then you've got Sandro Tonali that did not do his job in tracking the man that eventually scored the goal. If you're going to point the blame at somebody, point it at one of those three. Don't point it at Nick Pope that had to try and look through two men, and it went through his legs to go in the goal. That's what I don't agree with. I don't agree with it. And whether people in the chat agree or not, I don't really care. That's my opinion. That's what I've seen. I've watched the goal back plenty of times. That's how I see it. That's it. That's my
good news. The good news is in a minimum of 13 games time, we're going to have we have to buy a new goalkeeper. Could be more than that if we get progress against in the FA Cup. But so yeah, you guys are right. We are limited, and what Pope is good at, Dubravka isn't good at. What Dubravka is good at, Pope isn't good at. It's just we have no choice.
Sorry, that's the one thing I'm going to say from my perspective from now on. And to be fair, look, both of these goalkeepers are not very good. Both of these goalkeepers are going to have moments between now and the end of the season where they're not going to be very good. Okay, it's just the reality of where these goalkeepers are at.
Yeah.
But please, for the love of me, for whoever views this show tonight, please just, and it's up to you, but I'm just asking, just let's not scapegoat a player just because a goal goes in and goes, yeah, told you, he's shit. We already know that. We already know that they're not very good, right? It's just like we already know Sean Longstaff's not very good. We already know that Joe Willock is very, very limited. We already know these things. There's no point banging on about it. Same with Jacob. Jacob Murphy was atrocious tonight. He was absolutely atrocious. But there's no point banging on at him because we know he's limited. We know he's limited. We know he's not going to get any better at 30 years old than he is right now. It's just, look, we can bang on about all of these things. Okay, the reality is we came up against the league champions tonight at their own patch, a ground that we haven't won in the 90s. Regardless of where you see it, we've had better teams that have gone to that ground and not won matches. Okay, so it is what it is. It really is. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. So for me, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right, Pete. And we equally, both those keepers and those players that you mentioned will have good games between now and the end of the season. And but we have what we have. We have to work with it. That's what Eddie Howe has to work with for the next number of games and to see us through to the end of the season. It could be a season to remember. It could be one we end up with the trophy. With who knows? We could get into this, that, and the other game by game. Let's carry on this run through 30 minutes. Wilson had a chance, can't find the net. Can't find the target. But he's rusty as well, in fairness, and he's coming up against Liverpool. Not an ideal game, first game back to start. Well, he came on the subs and appearances, but to start in the Premier League. But 1-0 at half time, still in it, but nothing happened for us. Waiting for a potential mistake from Liverpool to maybe get something out of the game. Second half. This is something that irritated me, and I just want to get your opinion on this, guys. But we get a free kick. Why do we not have a plan for free kicks? We've Gordon and Char standing over it. Like Char will they blast it. Gordon wants to place it. They're kind of having a conversation. Who's going to take it? Why not Tonali, who won the free kick in the first place? We've seen fuck all from free kicks in terms of shots at goal. Have we seen a goal from a free kick this season? I can't remember for Newcastle. I think we need to add a free kick, and because Trips was our free kick expert, but he's only going to be a bit part player for us. He has a role to play, but he's a bit part player. And next season he shouldn't. I think he should be gone in the summer myself. But I think we need to add a free kick expert to our shopping list. Someone that can take a free kick as well, because we're missing that. We haven't had. Do you guys remember us scoring from a free kick?
Not direct. Do you mean direct?
Directly, yeah.
I can't think of a direct one.
No, I can't think of that.
No.
Anyway, it's a debate, one for the shopping list. 62 minutes, Mac Allister goal, 2-0, game over. Tonali, bad pass to Hall. Liverpool are away at it. Mac Allister onto Salah. Salah back to Mac Allister, goal. Any thoughts on that one?
Go on, Pete.
It was a really well worked goal, shall I say? What I will say is that it was one of the only times in the game, or maybe one of two times that I noticed in the game, that Lewis Hall was caught out of position, and we were made to pay for it. I have to say, I thought Lewis Hall was absolutely superb tonight.
He was the only thing.
Really impressed with him. I put a tweet out at halftime and I said, despite the result, I've been so impressed with him. There's a reason why, going back to your point, Chris, around Ali McCoist, the reason why he was waxing lyrical in the second half is because he was so desperate to do it in the first half, but couldn't, because Lewis Hall literally locked him down. Yeah. And you could see how frustrated Salah was. And actually, Lewis Hall's performance limited Liverpool into very little in that game. I thought Lewis Hall was a big reason why it was only 2-0, because we know how important Salah is. We know how crucial he is to Liverpool scoring goals. And I just thought Lewis Hall was brilliant tonight. But the one time he gets caught further upfield, I think they almost do like a switch. I'm not sure if like Burn or Hall go to the wrong player. Hall goes centre back, Burn goes left back, and it all kind of gets mixed up quite quickly. Salah plays it inside. Lovely finish from Mac Allister, if he can do about that. And yeah, it's just a well-worked goal. And it's a shame because up until that point in the second half, Liverpool had created nothing. Liverpool had created absolutely nothing. And if there was one team that looked like we could maybe harvest a chance, it was us. Because for all their counter-attack, they weren't really creating too much. We actually limited them to very little throughout the game. So it was a real shame to concede that goal. And for me, when that goal hit the back of the net, it was game over. There was no way we were scoring 2 goals tonight. There was no way. And that was the biggest disappointment, really, is that once that goal goes in, it is game over.
Chris?
Yeah, the only thing I'd add to that, what Pete said, is it was disappointing as well, because I saw similarities in the first goal to the second goal, when I think Bruno's on Mac Allister, and then again he makes a decision to back off him, and then he goes back to him. But we're talking split seconds. It's difficult, and it just creates that little bit of space. But I can't really blame anyone too much for that, because it was a really well worked goal. It was, and it's always easy, isn't it, in hindsight, to see replays, especially really slowed down replays, because you watch it, don't you, and you go, "Oh, what's he doing?" But you're talking literally half a second where they just literally back off or go to, and it creates, because he wasn't, he didn't like give him 10 yards of space, so it wasn't quite as bad as Sandro Tonali's, because Sandro kept looking at him and there was a bit more of a build up. But there was just a moment in the box where he just backs off him a little bit, and then you can see he's like, "Oh, need to get back to him." And by the time he gets back to him, shots off. But fair play to Liverpool. It was a good goal, and yeah, you're right, Pete. I think as soon as it went 2-0, we knew then it was done. It was over, which was disappointing. And then I suppose it was just about keeping the scoreline down then, really, because you could kind of see all the energy and all the enthusiasm kind of drain from the team, because as soon as you go 2-0 down at Anfield, you've got an uphill battle. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Did we make the subs before that goal, or was it straight after the goal?
No, after. It's after 6 minutes after.
Yeah.
Because that's the next bit. 6 months later, Miley on, Tonali off, Osula on, Wilson off, Barnes on, Willock off, Trips on, Tino off. Then fast forward 86 minutes, Longstaff on, Bruno off. Save from Pope or from Salah on the 87th minute, and 89th minute, a foul on Pope when they put the ball back in the net. But final score 2-0. Congratulations, Liverpool. Congratulations on the league title. You deserve it. Yeah, you're the best team in the league this year, and we have a long way to go before we said it before. I said it in the City match. A long way to go before we can catch up and be in the elite category. Obviously, they're at Anfield as well, so it's always going to be difficult for us, and extra difficult when our main talisman, our superstar in Alexander Isak is unable to play for us. But no excuses. Better team won.
Yeah, we can't have any complaints with the results, I don't think. Liverpool deserved it. I think the biggest frustration, bar the commentary, the biggest frustration for me this evening was just like, I think I said to you boys, I think it was the first 26 minutes. We just didn't look at it as like I hoped we would. And then we started to come to life a little bit after those 26 minutes. We started to like keep hold of the ball, and you know what? I got frustrated watching it because I think I said to you lads, didn't I? I don't know whether it was because we were scared. I don't know whether it was because we gave them too much respect. But I just kind of wanted like an Arsenal performance, where it was like, don't care that we're playing you, don't care how big the game is, we're going to give it to you. And I just didn't get that feel tonight. And I think there was too many players off the boil for whatever reason. Too many players didn't show up, didn't have the best game, and everyone's allowed a bad game. It doesn't make them bad players, but there was collectively too many that weren't quite at it tonight. And you're right, Daz. You do miss your talisman when Alexander Isak's not playing. That's going to have a big impact because unfortunately now, when Pete was talking about the drop off between Dubravka and Pope, I think rewind 12, 18 months ago, we'd have gone, Isak is above Wilson, but it's maybe a conversation. Now it's like this. It's so astronomical. It's untrue. And when you miss a player like that, you see the drop off. Unfortunately, that chance you mentioned, Daz, where Wilson didn't get it on target. Granted, it probably wasn't the best first touch, but you'd expect a player of his quality to at least test the keeper or at least get it on target. And I think 12, 18 months ago, he probably would have. And it was unfortunate. And you don't get many of those chances. And when you do get the chance, when you beat the offside trap, it was a great through ball. I think it was from Dan Burn. Great through ball. He's done the right thing. He's bent his run. He's got past Konate. Konate's chasing after him, scrambling. And then he just puts it wide. And it was just,
I'd say one thing about Wilson, and I don't. This season, I've not said many positive things about Wilson, but at least I saw him try to bully his way a bit today. I didn't see that against Nottingham Forest, so that is something. Can he get back to where he was before? Debatable, but yeah, at least that's one positive for Wilson.
My big question, Daz, from what you just said, I'm not convinced Callum Wilson can get back to where we know he's capable of being. But what you've just said is a positive point that I was going to say as well, is that actually I've said to you boys previously that I haven't seen him playing at 100%. Like, he puts himself about, he gets into like the rough and tumble of the game, where he's backing into his centre half and he's causing problems. I saw that today from him. I saw him spinning off and making runs in and behind, albeit he was offside a couple of times, which was poor timing. But I did see lights of things that I could see previously from Callum Wilson. That was some positives there. But ultimately, the whole of the final third let us down. Jacob Murphy's deliveries into the box were poor consistently, nowhere near a man every single time. It was just meat and drink for Virgil van Dijk and Konate to just consistently sweep the ball out without any issue. Equally, exactly the same for Anthony Gordon. Lots of work and running and endeavour, which you would expect from any player, but you want final third cutting edge to put deliveries in that are good. The amount of deliveries that Anthony Gordon was putting into the box that were barely clearing the first man, and if so, weren't clearing the second, were not good enough. You know, if you're going to Anfield, you need to be putting those like on a point to be giving yourself a chance to be putting them in the back of the net. And I didn't see it from Anthony Gordon. I thought Willock worked well. Again, lots of running and endeavour, lots of a counter-attacking pace. But it's the age-old issue with Joe Willock, is that he cannot control the ball. He cannot find a pass. He cannot do those simple things with the ball at his feet. And they're the differences between us being able to go to somewhere like Liverpool and win a match and not. If your players can't play those final passes and make them count, if your players can't make a pass without giving the ball away, you're not going to win at places like this. And that's just the reality of it. I'm not mad at it. I just know these players, some of them are just not at the level. And that's just the reality. Jacob Murphy, we don't want him starting next season, with all due respect. Joe Willock, we don't want him starting, with all due respect, next season. We don't. We want these players to be squad players at best. And so it goes back to that issue, is that we need to be trading up if we want to be going to places like Anfield and really putting them to the sword. And yeah, you know what? With all the talk of Liverpool, I thought in the first half we created some problems for them. I don't think we made it easy for them, but if you can't put your final ball in on a point, you're not going to win matches.
That's the day we win it at Anfield. It's the day we know we're elite. So long way to go. But let's see, boys. Let's just have a quick look at the league table. Here it is. Zooming up a bit as well, so you can see. Right, we're sitting in 6th spot on 44 points. The good news is, apart from the League Cup final, we don't have to play Liverpool again. We have to play Arsenal again, but we don't fear Arsenal. We don't have to play Nottingham Forest. Sorry, Wolfie, again. But we did the double over them this season, so nothing to fear there. We don't have to play Man City again. We do have to play Chelsea again towards the end of the season as well. But we a couple of results yesterday that went our way as well. So we're not too badly set. I know we have the FA Cup match on at the weekend, and then West Ham, isn't it? After that, who will have to play tomorrow against, who have to pick up 3 points against Leicester tomorrow. Go out there and win that match at West Ham and sell us up then after the League Cup, fully focused more or less on the running.
Look, regardless of what happened tonight, I think the results during this midweek have slightly favoured us. Okay, Chelsea won, fair enough, but Bournemouth losing it was a massive plus for us. Villa obviously losing, Villa down in 10th now.
Played a game extra.
And play the game extra. You look at that and you think, it's tight. Only 2 points away from 10th with Villa. I get that. I understand it. But it goes back to what we said on Top Table Talk. West Ham, Brentford, Man United, Leicester, Crystal Palace. They're our next 5 games. And someone just put in the chat, the Clon I put, West Ham will be away, will be very tough. They're on the bounce. You're absolutely right. They are on the bounce, but they can be beat. Their defense isn't good. And they're not going to set up with 5 at the back like they did against Arsenal at home. Their fans won't accept that. They're going to expect to come out and attack. And that's where we can hit them on the counter. So I think we can go and win at West Ham. I genuinely do. I think we can go and beat Brentford at home. I think we can go and beat Man United. I think we can go and beat Leicester. If we go win those 3, 4, 5 games, which I think are all winnable, by the way, all of them, even Palace are in great form. I still think we can beat them at St. James's Park. If we go and win those 5 games, nobody's going to give a damn about tonight, because we will be, in my opinion, minimum top 5 if we go and win those games. There'll be an argument that we could potentially be 3rd, certainly 4th, if we go and win those 5 games. So that's the thing now. Forget the Cup for a second. Forget the FA Cup for a second. The next 5 Premier League games are the ones that we need to win. And if we win them, we're well on our way to getting European football minimum, but certainly banging the race for Champions League. So, look, it's disappointing tonight, lads. People in the chat, really disappointing that we lost. But we need to stay positive, because there are so many points to gain in this Premier League. We've got so many favourable fixtures that we are more than capable of winning. Even the way we play tonight, we go to somewhere like West Ham, we probably get a goal or 2. We play like that tonight at St. James's Park, we probably beat the likes of Leicester or Brentford. Like that's it. That's what we need to just keep plugging away, turning up. But the key to it all is keeping our players fit. And I think it's been proven it's a good decision what we did with Alexander Isak tonight.
Yeah. Chris, any thoughts on the table?
Yeah, I mean, again, mate, still in the mix. Tonight was never season defining or Champions League or Europe defining for me. It was, anything was a bonus tonight. I thought we were capable of getting something, but I didn't fancy our chances, and ultimately, we didn't manage to take anything from Anfield, which isn't unusual. But yeah, it's about the upcoming games, isn't it? It's about this FA Cup game this weekend. It's about managing the minutes. It's about looking to West Ham a week on Monday. We've got a big gap now for a Premier League game, and that's what we need to kind of focus on for me. I'm assuming, let's assume Alexander Isak isn't going to play on the weekend in the FA Cup. I think that's a fair assumption. I don't think he will. I don't think he will have anyway. So that gives him a nice long rest. Get him ready. Try and get him ready for West Ham. Hopefully he is back fit for West Ham. If not, we'll still leave behind with Callum Wilson. But for me, it's about making sure that we keep turning up, and Pete rightly said, avoiding injuries. We don't want any long-term injuries. We don't want to lose anyone for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. That's what we really want to avoid. We want to try and keep this, 16, 17 man squad together, strong and fit. That's what we need to do. And we need to make sure that we rotate properly. Yes, tonight was disappointing. Yes, the performance wasn't what we wanted, but we have also, boys, we've also got to remember we were up against a really, really top team tonight who put out their best team. And they are in great form, played really well, and had a relatively easy night, in fairness. But they've done that to a lot of teams this season. So, I don't think we can be too downhearted. Obviously, it doesn't make it any nicer. It doesn't mean that we enjoy it. It doesn't mean that, we're happy about it. But at the same time, reality check, once this drains out the system in the next couple of days, I think we'll look forward, and we'll be looking forward to the FA Cup game against Brighton. and we'll also be looking then to West Ham. And it's about that's where you get your Champions League position when you go to the likes of you go to the likes of West Ham and you go and win there. That's where you do it. And we look at the table now, and people in the chat there were saying, next game week we're going to have to win because Chelsea have got Leicester at home. But there's 11 games left. There's 11 games left. There's a hell of a lot of football to play. And yes, we look at our points, but you've also got to look at the points that the other teams are getting. Are they gonna win 11 games in a row? No. So it's about trying to be at the top of that pile, trying to finish like we were looking at on the last show, Top Table Talk, trying to finish at the top of that group, looking at the 5-6 clubs around us and trying to finish points wise at the top of that mini group. And if we do, we're in the conversation going into the last 5 or 6 games of the season. That's where we need to be.
Cool. Right, just want to give one shout out here to Jamie Pina, who is coming from the Cayman Islands. We have our loaded accounts there, lads, in the Cayman Islands. And if you'd like to contribute towards the loaded, you'll see the QR codes there on the screen. We have Buy Us a Beer on right under Pete, and the loaded shop under myself there, so for the loaded merch. But also make sure you smash that like button as well. Any comments or questions, lads, before we round out the show?
Yeah, there's a few in here. Lee G's messaged a few times on social media. He's put that I said on the 12th man that Arteta had ran his players into the ground, which he has. Do you think Howe is doing the same? He's needlessly playing 86 minutes that week. What do you think about that?
We have no other option. Our option is Wilson. We didn't buy. We couldn't buy, or we didn't buy anyway. An alternative. It would be nice to have been able to use Asula more and to rest with Isak at times, but no.
He made the change today, though, didn't he? He's not. I
don't think he's too injured. Yeah, if it's a slight strain, yes, rest him. Probably plays against Brighton.
Who?
Isak.
You think Isak plays against Brighton?
Could well do.
I think.
It's a week then before West Ham?
It is. Yeah, it's a full week. Well, 8 days, isn't it?
The only reason I feel like Isak will play, and I agree. I agree with this comment here. Is that I think he may have had a little issue with his groin, but I think he could have played today. My big question is can Callum Wilson play Wednesday, Sunday? That's my question, because I don't genuinely believe that Eddie Howe will start Will Asula against Brighton at St James's Park in the FA Cup, not with the quarterfinals up for grabs. And so there's the argument: is he playing Wilson in this game to then give him a bench role on Sunday to play Isak? So Isak's resting, whatever there was a slight issue with his groin, to allow him to play Sunday. I don't know, but I don't think it's out the realms of possibility. I mean, someone in the chat was saying that Isak was out for weeks. I've not heard that anywhere.
No.
Craig Hope came out and said something that he thought it was minimal as well.
Yeah.
So before the show started,
it's not. Sorry, go on, Dad. Sorry.
No, he loves something negative. So if it was something negative, he'd be on top of it. I'm joking.
It's not a possibility that Isak, Botman, and Joe Linton are all in the squad on Sunday. Not out there was a possibility. This FA Cup game has got even more sort of significance on it. Liverpool are out. Liverpool are the best team in England right now, but they're out of the FA Cup. You look at the teams that are left, even including Man City, you've got a chance of getting to a final again. Can we be in a position to throw that away? Is that Eddie Howe's mindset in the this game that we're probably not likely to win? Let's be honest. I don't think anyone thought we were going to go and win it. If we did, it was more hope than anything. Is Eddie Howe thinking, okay, let's rest our main man, let's get him ready to make sure we get through in the FA Cup? Then he's got a week's rest or over a week's rest to West Ham before then the cup final. Is that part of the thinking rather than playing Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday and burn him out potentially? I don't know. It's just a thought. It's just a thought.
You know the age old Newcastle question you always get: would you rather have won this game or the cup final? Which if you had a choice, which one would you pick? And the obvious answer is you want to win both. But at least we all going well. Isak is up against Van Dijk in that League Cup final, and it's a different game then.
I suppose the way you've got to look at it as well, and I know this is hindsight and it's not real, but if Alexander Isak, and the importance he is to Newcastle United, if Alexander Isak at the start, let's say at the start of the season, say you could magically pick which game. If Alexander Isak says that he's not feeling 100%, or he's felt something in his groin or his leg or his arm or whatever it may be, and you then have to sacrifice him for one game. If you said to Eddie Howe at the start of the season, what's the one game, knowing what this season's going to pan out like, what's the one game you would happily drop it Alexander Isak because you're not expecting the points? Arguably, you would say playing Liverpool at Anfield. So if there's any... Or Bournemouth, yeah. Great shout.
Fucking never beat Bournemouth.
Fucking, yeah. we waved the white flag for Bournemouth. But yeah, so looking at this game, if there's any kind of doubt whatsoever, as Pete said, maybe he could have played an hour, 65 minutes. But what if he played, we're getting beat 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, whatever, and then he pulls up and goes, oh yeah, do you remember I said about that, groin strain? It's just got worse. And then you go and hang on, why have we risked him in a game like of this magnitude? Why have we risked him in this game, knowing what's around the corner on the 16th of March, and knowing that we've got a pretty big FA Cup game coming up, and we've also got some really meaty, very winnable Premier League games coming up? It just wouldn't make sense. Sometimes you've got to look at the bigger picture. I know Eddie Howe always likes to focus on the next game, but I bet you on this occasion he hasn't just focused on this game, and he's thought about the future ones, but he'd never admit that.
He did in the transfer window as well. He had a look at the bigger picture. Right, let's move on.
Yeah, another question here. What do you guys think of Bruno? I think if we can get 80 to 100 million for him, we should sell. His pace is horrible, and we can find better creative midfielders for that amount. So do you agree with Friden's comments? Bruno.
Am I allowed to say no comment here? Look, I do know what Frieden is getting at. He and I said it on I think the previous reaction. Bruno has not been at his best recently, but I also know what Bruno has brought to us in the past, and he will bring to us again. And it's that passion as well. I don't know. Come the summer, all options on the table. It depends where we are. In terms of European competition as well, but someone has to make that offer as well before it becomes a conversation. Have I given a politically correct answer there?
Pretty much. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I don't think Bruno's in his best moment at the moment. I think he's missing Joe Linton. I think that's a big part of it. Was I sell him if the money came in? Well, the money's got to come in first. But he brings so much to this team, and with his passion, his enthusiasm. And I know people may say that's a load of shite, but it does matter. It does matter, and the fact that he wants it so much, I think that does matter. I wouldn't like to see him go, but do I doubt what Frieden81's saying there, saying that we can find better creative midfielder for that amount with more pace? I'm assuming that's what he's alluding to. We probably could, but would that necessarily guarantee he'd be a better fit for Newcastle? It's all ifs and buts, isn't it? We need to clear out this summer, but Bruno isn't on that list for me. And I think if Bruno's got better players playing around him, I think that only improves his levels. So, there was a lot of poor performances tonight. And so I don't think it helps when the team's not performing great. Bruno's got his flaws, definitely. But he's also got a lot of pluses going his way. What about you, Pete?
I think if that sort of money came in, I think the club take it. I think they sell. If that sort of money comes in, anywhere between 80 and 100 million for Bruno in the summer, I think he goes. Only one team that will pay it, though, and that'll be Man City. I don't see them paying bang on 100 million. I see them paying a little bit less. But I think from a club perspective, if that money came in, I think two things would happen. The club would accept it, but I think Bruno would ask to leave. And that's just my personal opinion. I actually think that if at this moment in time, that if there was ever one of our main players that would leave, it would only be him. I think he's the only one. And I think there's a point here made from Bradford Moore that I've just seen. He's 29 next year. If you can get anywhere between 80 and 100 million for a 29-year-old next year, Newcastle United, with their mindset and the way they reinvest, and will look for the next Bruno at 24 years old to come in and take that mantle. I think the club would do it. Whether I would do it or not is a different thing, but I think the club would.
He's, just to clarify, by the way, he's 28 in November.
Yeah, that's fake news. Bradford.
He's not wrong though. So 2026, he's 29.
True. True.
He's right in what he's saying.
True.
If you said next season, then he'd be technically wrong. But we know what Bradford Moore means. But look, he's the reality is he's closer to 30. So
he's right.
It's too late for this kind of calculations.
There you go.
I know. It's because it's late.
But yeah, that's where I see the club making the decision. I'm not saying I would necessarily do that, just because he does play a key part in the way in which we function. Tonight he wasn't good, but there was a lot of players that were not good. So I'm not going to put that all on him. There were players that were certainly worse than him, but in our best moments, he is normally one of the main guys that grabs the game by the scruff of the neck or does something that emphasizes why we win a match, and that cannot be ignored. But that's where I am with that one. Do you want me to move on? A couple of other points.
Go for it, yeah.
Ashley says, kiss goodbye to Champions League and Cup on that performance. Not turning up for games is unforgivable, shocking. Do you agree with Ashley's statements, boys?
Sorry, Ashley. I know where you're coming from. After the defeat, you want to just go, fuck this, fuck everything, the shit, scrap everything, get rid of the manager, do this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. I know you're not saying this, but you'll have a lot of that in social media, blaming this person, that person, the other, which like what Pete was alluding to earlier. But we are still very much in the run for Champions League. The Cup is one game. It's on Wembley pitch. It's not at Liverpool's home ground. We'll hopefully have our main striker back and have a two more wins under our belt, and confidence to be high, hopefully. And Botman back as well. It's a totally different game on any given day. you could beat Liverpool. It's not going to be easy, no way, and they're not going to make it easy. They also play a PSG like right after that or right before it or something as well. So the second leg of the Champions League. So their heads are in other places as well. So no, I'm not giving up on anything yet. Far from it. At this stage, I think we're well in the and we're also in the mix for the FA Cup as well. We're still the treble of getting in the Champions League, winning the League Cup, and getting to an FA Cup final is still on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree that I have to disagree with Ashley on this. Ashley, I do apologise, but when you settle down, mate, and you think about it, in the coming days, get yourself on that league table. Have a look at that league table. We're sitting 6th on 44 points. We're 2 points behind Chelsea, who are in 5th spot, which will qualify as a Champions League place. And we are currently 4 points behind 3rd. 4 points behind 3rd. So, let's give it another 5 games, and then let's see where we are in 5 games. I hope that things will vastly improve for us, and I do believe they will. But I can see obviously why you're disappointed. And in terms of the cup, as I said to my red mates tonight, I said don't take anything from that. They were saying, oh, it'll be a nice easy cup final win. I said that was the dress rehearsal tonight. I said don't read into that. I said we're not going to be turning up like we have tonight on the cup final day. I said I fully believe you're going to see a different Newcastle United, and I hope I'm right. I think it will be more like the 3-3 at St James's Park than it will be tonight. That's the kind of performance that I think we'll see in the cup final. And I'm hoping that we'll have Mr. Isak spearheading our attack. So again, I think we'll be asking more questions of them.
I think we'll have a different starting 11 in the cup final. There's an argument that Botman, Joe Linton back in the team alongside Isak. We could arguably have our strongest 11 to put out by the time that Liverpool comes to Wembley. So could all be different at that point. But look, as you boys have said, Champions League's not out the realms of possibility. In all honesty, even though you're looking at Villa down in 10th, Villa are like 2 points away from us. Even if we were down in 10th, you wouldn't rule out Champions League because any team is capable of putting a run together. And it goes back to the point, and you just touched on it, Chris, those next 5 games are crucial. In my opinion, they're 5 games that we could go and win all of them. Whether we will or not is a different thing. But those 5 games, or after those 5 games, will give us a much better idea of where we're going to stand in this race. And to be fair, Ashley, in 5 games' time, if we're further down the league and we're further points adrift, then I think your argument is a valid one. But at the moment, it's probably just a little bit too early to have that assessment. But not turning up for games like this at Anfield, you could argue that that's a valid point. When was the last time we won at Anfield? What, in the 90s, early 90s?
95.
Yeah,
I think it was.
So it's almost like we've become used to it now. That we don't win there, but that's what we don't want. We don't want to become used to losing at grounds like this. We want to start winning at them. We want to do what we did at Old Trafford, at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, although we do win there quite a bit. But certainly the Emirates as well. Winning at the Emirates, we've broken a hoodoo that we've had for years there. Let's keep going. So yeah, some valid points in there, but just not yet, I would say. Janne made an observation. I think when we were talking about players losing the ball, Tonali lost the ball 6 times, Gordon lost the ball 17 times, and Murphy lost the ball 19 times. I'm assuming that's what he's referring to for the other 2 players, that they've lost the ball way more times than Sandro Tonali. But as we've said, I think we could all agree that those 3 players didn't have nowhere near their best games for Newcastle United. Talking about set pieces, Daz, I'll come to you on this one. Mike Hunt need a set piece taker. Tonali took them for Milan. We need a corner and free kick guy to hang our hats on. We talked about Gordon not missing the first man for multiple corners and balls into the box tonight. Why isn't Sandro Tonali taking set pieces, mate?
Yeah, I link back to like a year before we signed Sandro Tonali. I remember I was talking about him, and I identified him as potential one we could sign maybe in a joke fashion, but we ended up signing him. The prophecy came true, but he was taking those all those set pieces, and he takes them for Italy as well. So I don't know why he's not more involved in taking them for us. And it just kind of irritated me a bit today because Gordon was just giving it all that and just wanted to take. Shut up at times, Gordon, and let fucking someone else take it. Like he just wants to take everything. He's getting a bit greedy at times. So I want to see Sandro Tonali take some of these free kicks, especially if Trips isn't on the pitch. It's very rare you see. I don't think Tonali has taken a free kick for us. I don't. Maybe one. I remember because every time there is a free kick for us in a dangerous position, you stop. So I think he could have taken one, but just wanted to take a few more. Something different as well. But I think in the summer we need to look at that. And if we can bring in someone that has that in their locker as well, it could be an asset. It could be worth a few points to us throughout the course of a season.
I mean, we saw the strike, didn't we? One of you boys will tell me which team it was. I can't recall, but it was in the last few games when he smacked the crossbar from like 25, 30 yards out. So we know he's got a strike on him. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think it was Nick Pope who was saying about Sandro Tonali that he's got the hardest shot out the whole team. And it's like, so why is he not taking the free kicks? I mean, I suppose... to be fair, what we don't see behind the scenes is obviously what goes on in training. I imagine, Anthony Gordon must be pretty good at the free kicks because surely if he wasn't,
no one has scored.
Oh no, I know.
Share it around. He has to be in the mix to be taking them. So may give it more of that, Tonali, and just do what Gordon did. Grab the ball off Gordon and just this is mine.
I
see him argue with that one.
I completely agree with what you're saying, Daz, and I would much rather have Sandro on it to give it a try. But the only thing I was saying was I don't know whether maybe Gordon's pinging them in from 30 yards every training session, and that's why the players are going. That's why because if it was us three. And, Pete was incredible at free kicks, and I kept wanting to take the free kicks. I would expect you, Daz, to go, no, Chris, give the ball to Pete. Give it to Pete, because Pete bangs them in every week. So the fact that nobody's pulling Gordon on it would suggest to me that he must be doing wonderful things in training. But if he keeps missing, then yes, Sandro, give it to Sandro, give him a go.
There's another thing here. This is where the captain steps in. You remember with Trips, he would go. No, you're doing it. Like there isn't. That might be something we're lacking with Bruno in a captaincy capacity. But
it's a good point. It's a good point.
We'll see. But yeah, as what was said by Mike, if you've got a player that was taking charge at Milan, not taking your set pieces, you've got to ask the question why. But yeah, an interesting one. Great question, man. Just we've already covered this one. Do you think tonight's result will have a say on the cup final? We've already touched on that. Mike says, do the right thing. Make sure you click those likes. If you haven't already, make sure you do it right now as we come to our next question. Easy question, lads. In what position will our first summer signing be?
Oh, God.
Right wing.
Goalie. Because I think the Trafford deal will be done.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
Pete?
I have no idea. I don't care. I just want to sign it. Just please sign any one of those positions we've talked about. Goalkeeper, centre back, right winger, anyone sign a player, a first team ready player. I just want to see one first team ready player in any one of those positions through the door. So
I just want to,
just want that sign.
Just want a fully loaded transfer reaction show to a signing that we paid cash
What are
for.
they? What are they?
Yeah.
When was the last genuinely? When was the last time we did that?
Tonali.
Yeah, it would be Tonali.
It probably was.
That was the
Wasn't
big one anyway. Yeah.
The last big
big one.
Yeah, we didn't do one for Asuna.
We didn't do one for Hall because Hall signed permanently. We got him on loan, but I don't think we did like a big.
Did we do one for Timo?
We did it. We actually because I did
one for Timo.
We did one for Hall because I think it was like the Lone Ranger or something like that. We had for Hall, but it wasn't again. It was a loan signing, and we didn't know. We knew he was good, but we didn't know he was this good.
Didn't do one for Asula. Did we do one for Barnes?
We did one for Barnes. Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Tonali's the big one.
I remember the posters. That's why I can remember them.
Remember the Botman one we did?
Oh,
yeah, that was massive.
That was monster. When we agreed that deal, that was Isaac.
Isaac, yeah. Because we had Samira Hunter on about a week before, and she was bigging up Isaac. When we did ask her about a lot of players, but she did give a good synopsis on Isaac. And Botman, Sean Casey joined us for that one to prove a point.
he put those imaginary sunglasses on that day.
yeah,
that one. But sorry,
been too long.
Yeah, people in the chat that probably weren't even part of the channel.
Born
then, huh?
They weren't even born then.
Born.
Yeah.
It was that long ago.
They weren't even members or like subscribe to the channel. Like, they have no idea what a reaction even looks like from that. So we need one. We need a big reaction. I want. Just imagine that Sandro Tonali-esque out of nowhere. Boom. Deal agreed. On his way for a
Stop it, Pete. We're getting too positive. We're meant to be sad.
Yeah.
We're getting too positive.
This is what we need to do. We need to turn this negative into positive. But on a serious note, boys, on a serious note, like, look, we didn't expect to win today.
No.
We've not won. We've got a chance to go to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup on Sunday. We dust ourselves off. We get those players back fit, and we just go again.
Yeah.
There's
Totally.
no point being about it. We're annoyed about this game. We would have loved to have won, but let's talk about signing.
Stop it, Mike. Stop it.
Love it, Mike. We can't help it, Mike. We can't help it.
It could be worse. I know someone had it in the chat as well. Remember the Mike Ashley days, and then you go down that route again, and then it's like the people tonight would be saying, "Trust the process." I'm sure they will be on Twitter as well.
Daz, look how far we've come.
Yes. Look how far we still have to go.
I think we were there in terms of the questions.
Cool.
There was one from John, but I think we partly answered this anyway. Lads, any thoughts on Eddie Howe not taking Isaac off on Sunday, or we'll throw one up? He's got his game management wrong on Sunday and couldn't rest Isaac Bruno Gordon.
I mean, it finished 4-3, didn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe that was his plan, and then he saw how poor we were.
Yeah.
Started that second half, and they go, "Oh, maybe I'll hang on here."
And maybe he wanted Isaac to get his hat trick. Who knows? And then gradually, as Forrest crept back in, it was like, shit, don't fucking touch anything. Just yeah. Who knows? But I see where John's coming from. I do see where he's coming from. But
and again, hindsight is a wonderful thing. Like if you knew that he was going to be slightly injured, you would have taken him off for sure before that. But you don't know.
Oh God! Sorry, this might pull. Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to pull.
Clues, we've just had smiles on our faces, talking about signing players in the summer, getting past all the negativity tonight, and you throw that comment up. No, we're not having that. We're not having that he's going to be out for 6 weeks. We're going to have that he'll be in the squad on Sunday. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Red card. We have to start having red cards in the show.
He does say this last time Isak had a groin injury. He was out for 2 months. That was ages ago.
Yeah.
Ages ago. His groin's fine now.
I liked the positivity when the people in the chat were saying, you know, he was in the stands. He travelled with the squad, because if his groin was that bad, he'd have just been left at home. He'd have been left at home. So
I don't want to be in a couple of days' time saying Ashley's right. Ashley was right in the comment earlier. Everything was bad.
No,
God. Let's stay hopeful. Stay hopeful.
Definitely. Yeah. But they were the comments that were marked off. And yeah, that's the end of the comments, lads.
That's it. That's it for the show as well. We'll bring it to a close. I'm struggling to find which. I found one. Let's end with the Radiators. Good night, everybody. We'll see you very, very soon.
Come on.
Have a good one.